So everyone speaks about metrics these days, okay? So everyone say, what's the #1 metric, I don't know, in social media? And recently, people only tell me, oh, Monty, #1 metric is engagement. Did you hear about that? Engagement. Facebook metric is engagement, and so on. And so I thought, well, I think music is #1 engagement in the world. And I want to show you this video because I think most of the time we forget how music is powerful and passionate and really get engaged people, you know. I don't think that so many things in life can create this contact and connection like music. I'll show you this video. You have it, Daniel. It's from a festival. And, wow, this is unbelievable, really. So it's unbelievable how can engage music, and the panel of music is moderated by GIAMPIERO Di Carlo, founder of Rockall. I grab a chair for you with his panel. All right. Good job.
Let me be in the middle. Welcome everybody to this Let's Face the Music panel. Should be a fantastic panel. We have some protagonists of the scene at the crossroads between technology and music. And okay, my name is GIAMPIERO Di Carlo. I'm a CEO and founder of Rockall. Rockall is Italy's probably oldest music website. And one of the things we do on a daily basis is cover music, the music industry. So probably that's why I'm here moderating this panel. And I'd like, first of all, to thank TechCrunch for having us here. And I'd like to kick off the panel with a round of brief introduction of the panelists themselves. Okay, you can. How much did you miss? Everything? Okay. I'm GIAMPIERO Di Carlo, Rockall. Rockall is a music website based in Italy. We cover a lot of music industry news. I'd like to thank TechCrunch for having me and us here. And I'd like to kick off this panel with a brief round of presentation by the panelists and their companies. Nico.
Hello, everybody. My name is NICO PEREZ. I am co-founder of a website called MixCloud. MixCloud is an internet radio platform. We host DJ mixes, podcasts, and radio shows that listeners can stream on demand for people like Fatboy Slim, Moby, The Guardian. And we've been going for about 3 years now. And I'm really excited to be here in Italy to talk about music.
Hi guys, my name is AXEL, BRINGÉUS, and I'm from Spotify. If you don't know Spotify, it's the world's largest music streaming service with about 15 million active users. And I'm responsible for international expansion at Spotify, and it's great to be here.
Hi, I'm Will Mills, Director of Music and Content at Shazam. Shazam's the world's leading media engagement technology, which you can use to discover music and now also TV shows and advertising. We've got over 250 million users worldwide, and they tag over 10 million songs and pieces of content every day. Great to be here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Max CIOCIOLA. I'm the CEO and founder of MusixMatch. MusixMatch, proudly, as we say, a made in Italy product, but enjoyed everywhere, is the world's largest database of lyrics. We have mainly an apps by which people can retrieve and, you know, from any audio source lyrics, which is very popular content. So happy to be here.
Okay, thank you so far. Can I wrap it up very quickly? So we have lyrics, we have music recognition, and not only music, lately TV as well. We have the most talked about music service, maybe soon coming to Italy, we'll find out. And we have MixCloud that is contributing to rethinking the radio model. So there's so much stuff we could say. I'd like to start, since this is TechCrunch, I'd like to start talking about startups. Startups bring to the table a lot of creativity and innovation. But at the end of the day, we all know that not many can emerge from the crowd. So we have an example here, and I'd like to have Max say something about how fun or difficult or critical it is to create a startup in Italy, and especially to scale to an international dimension from Italy.
Well, I think we all should, avoid the concept that, a startup must be run at, in a particular place. Spotify, was launched in Stockholm. NICO is based in London. I think Shazam was originally based in US, but then moved to London, right? Oh, we're based in London, yeah. They're still based in London. It doesn't really, it's not really important where you're based. The point is the product you're building and the problem you're solving around music. We have reached, a massive audience. Today I can share MusixMatch is actually used by almost 10 million people all over the world. We're growing actually, kind of 1 new million people every month is joining MusixMatch by solving a small and stupid things, which is how to retrieve lyrics, which is one of the most popular content over internet. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter where you are, but the matter is the product you build, the engineer where are based, and they could be based anywhere, and how much effort you're putting to build a very good product. And I'm really happy and proud to share my experience with such amazing people here. But they all have an experience which is based in Europe, and if Spotify would be based, I don't know, in Città del Vaticano, beside the Pope, blessing him, I don't think it would make any difference to them. They had a great idea, and the same is all the others. So I would strongly recommend to not think about raising money wholly, but to build an amazing product, They're a great example around the world,
So you're being very modest, but because the stats are against you, not too many startups in Italy really make it. Nico, MixCloud is a pretty recent company as well. I'd like to ask you about what, in your opinion, are the success critical factors?
Yeah, this is a really interesting area, and I guess one of the challenges being a music startup is that a lot of investors are very scared of investing in this space because of licensing, because of everything's changing so quickly, bad experiences in the past. So what that means is that, in our case, for example, we had to figure out how to go it alone and bootstrap the company up to a point where it was generating enough revenue to survive. And so what that means is very early on, you're forced to think very hard about the business model, about cash flow, and about how to generate money. And in our case, we've gone the ad-funded route, and we figured out how to make it work by working with brands. But those early days, that first year, 18 months, was incredibly challenging. And there's a lot of times when people are telling you no, that you start to think to yourself, oh shit, is this really viable? Is it what I can do? But I think in our case, there was a lot of passion for what we were doing behind it. We come from a radio and DJ background, so that sort of brought us through.
I understand that MixCloud is especially B2C, and I'm curious to know if you were ever tempted to do it B2B like an exit, since you had to struggle a little bit in the beginning.
How would it look B2B, out of curiosity?
You're a platform, so you could sell services to enterprises and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we're going to explore as we scale up and start approaching radio stations. That's more of a B2B play. It's more difficult, as I think anybody in the enterprise space knows, to deal with big enterprises because it takes a long time to convince them and to move their direction. So we started on a very grassroots level, working with everything from your bedroom DJ and podcaster all the way up to your famous superstars like Richie Houghton or Fatboy Slim. And that sort of allows us to build the credibility, which we can then take to the radio stations and then develop relationships from there.
Okay, thank you. Talking about the difficulty of making it big somehow, we can notice that in the last 5-10 years, advertising has been definitely a driving factor, sometimes a real funder, sometimes a subsidizer. In many cases, it's what business model that are based on. One very strong theme, actually, is the attraction between brands and music. So I'd like to ask AXEL and Will, Spotify and Shazam, to tell us about what their experience is with brands, especially what brands seek when they approach you, and are they really mature to actually engage with the consumer, or are they still very traditional and searching for traditional metrics?
Yeah, I mean, advertising has been an integral part of the Spotify business model ever since inception, and we've been really, really successful at it. And I think, as you said, music and advertising fits very, very beautifully together. I mean, it has always done so, you know, even before our you know, digital age, because music is just so emotional, and that is what advertising is you know, a lot about, transmitting emotions. I mean, I'm too young to remember it, but many people speak about the Levi's CD. Apparently, there was in the 90s or something a CD that Levi's put together with, you know, a couple of good songs, and people, when they hear those tracks, they still think about Levi's, and I mean, that is then again, you know, something that we are trying to take to the digital era, and we've seen, I mean, many huge consumer brands and blue chip companies that sort of build on our platform, not only in terms of traditional display advertising, but who also, for example, build their own apps on Spotify so that they can engage on a much deeper level with consumers. Reebok, for example, just launched a fitness app on the platform where you as a user can build your you know, fitness playlists. We have a global partnership with Coca-Cola where they also, you know, use the app platform to reach
branded
their
apps?
users. Yes, exactly. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Spotify platform, where third parties such as can sort of leverage on the fact that we have you know, an 18 million track catalog, you know, 15 million free users, leverage on that, and then build their own sort of products and features on top of that. And that is something that brands are very, very willing to do. But I think the interesting thing lies in mobile music advertising, where I think that's really where the future is, and where there's still many interesting things to come.
Yeah, so at Shazam, we've always known that millions of people love to Shazam music in commercials. So we thought how we could build upon that and create a great experience for the user and also the brand as well. And Shazam for TV is our process of Shazam enabling content, be that TV or advertising. And we've currently done over 140 different TV adverts in America that have our logo pops up in the advert. And if you Shazam it, you get something that you can experience more around that brand. We have one running in the UK with Microsoft Internet Explorer 9, and that even before we worked with Microsoft, that had already had 1.5 million people Shazam that commercial. So it's a really great impact engagement point, as Axel mentions, music and images. And indeed, we've always 54% of Shazam's users Shazam their TV at least once a week. So. I'm sure it's the case in Italy as it is around the world. Some TV people use some fantastic music. So Shazam for TV builds upon that existing user habit that's already there and creates a nice sort of channel for someone actually actively engaging with an advert. And we've done a rich history of work with brands and music.
Can you make an example of interaction between a brand and like
Sure.
a commercial on TV?
Yeah, well, I was just going to, at the Super Bowl this year in America, there were 3 elements to Shazam's involvement in that. You could Shazam the game and get stats on the game live. You could Shazam the halftime show with Madonna, and we work with Bud Light to give away 1 million downloads of Madonna's latest single. And around 40% of the adverts at the Super Bowl also chose to work with Shazam to enable the content. And Chevrolet gave away a car, one for you and a friend for people who won that competition. Another brand gave $1 to a charity for each person who Shazammed it. So I think brands and music, the relationship is definitely going to evolve. evolve. And as some of the monetization challenges, brands obviously like to spend, particularly around a category like music. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting opportunities as we go forward.
Thank you. And Nico, what happens on MixCloud as far as brands are concerned?
What we're seeing on MixCloud is a lot of brands trying to connect to our audience of early adopters and essentially musical trendsetters. I think one of the big challenges for brands is that a lot of the budgets are distributed in each country, but territory by territory basis. And at the moment, you know, the internet is obviously a global thing, so trying to convince them to do global spend is sometimes difficult. But you know, there's some brands leading the way. Like, for example, we work with Red Bull, and I think they are pioneering what's possible with brands and music in the digital space. They've got, you know, the Red Bull Music Academy, they've got Red Bull Radio, they've got an international DJ competition called Freestyle. And so these sort of things really help them reach out to new audiences. And we're sort of, essentially MixCloud is the technology platform that powers the behind the scenes.
Okay, all that said, actually advertising is kind of still in the scene as when it comes to talking about music business models. But are there other business models, viable, sustainable business models in music? Max, you want to say something about this?
You know, I think in music is mainly all about access. So, you know, for a lot of years, and we still have this kind of trouble, but I think Spotify and, you know, iTunes are all helping about it. It's always a matter of how can I easily find music, you know. I'm the one convinced that, you know, even pirates or people that don't want to buy music, you know, they do in most of the cases because they really have a lot of difficulty to discover music. I always remind Daniel Ek from Spotify mentioning that in Sweden, which was the most illegal country for music, Spotify, people converted from buying illegal music. So this means they have built an access for music, easy access. As soon as you make it, there are, I think, several ways to monetize beside advertising, which is always, you know, kind of, you know, music is on mobile. So, and we are, everybody not spending most of our life, you know. We spend, I've heard this Klein and Perkins research where we spend 1 hour per day in our car. We spend like, you know, almost 2 hours on TV, but we spend the rest of the day on mobile. So, you know, having all your music on mobile, it's a way, you know, by which you can allow people to pay for that. On the other side, there could be some other additional value by giving user kind of, you know, additional access to music on multi-devices, having them synchronize. We see like lyrics, for example, just to give you an idea, MTV in Italy is actually on their video publishing, you know, our lyrics, scrolling lyrics, so the engagement that the audience just double, so people are watching the TV more because they're singing. So there are several ways you can actually try to monetize, but most of all, you have to build an access before charging the end user. So I would say that that's the main thing, you know?
Any other panelists wants to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that you need to reach a sort of certain scale before other business models than the traditional advertising and subscription can become viable. But if you look at the gaming industry, gaming is probably the most innovative vertical in all of entertainment. And I mean, the first sort of online business models there were as well advertising and subscription, but now, you know, micropayments, in-app purchases, downloads are sort of the main money makers there. So I'm certain that when we, as Max said, have pulled enough users from piracy, and when the sort of parenthesis on this short dark age of music has closed completely, that all of these new fantastic business models are going to spawn a new sort of new golden age for making money on music.
Okay. Lately, some say that the new music product is the experience, and I kind of agree with that. And if that's true, I reckon that maybe the two driving factors in today's music experience are music discovery and music recommendation, which are also a sign of changed times, because we once used to have traditional magazines and radio to address users and consumers to certain kinds of music. Now we have consumers following their own personal experiences. About music discovery, what do you think will prevail among algorithms, curated content, social recommendation, and so forth? Whoever wants to start.
I think it's going to be a mix. I mean, you see in all verticals, you see a shift from more passive search towards active discovery. Also, again, to use the gaming example, and if you take Spotify as an example, if you sit in front of an app where you have access to 18 million songs, you might not know what to actually search for, and then obviously you need cues. And I think there are three sort of main drivers of discovery. One being discovering music through your friends, social, which we do through our Facebook partnership. The second one through sort of experts that you rely on. They might not be your friends, but they might be music journalists or whatever. So through curation that we do with our application platform. And then the third one being more sort of smart algorithms, be it genre radio or artist radio or whatever. So I think it's going to be a mix out of these three, and I think it's very important to so for everyone in the business, because as we were introduced, there was talk about engagement, and engagement is what it's all about. I mean, engagement drives revenues. It drives advertising revenues. It drives the user to pick up their wallet and pay for a subscription. So I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, Shazam, over 10 million songs are discovered every day. And I think one of an interesting study came out earlier this year around South by Southwest, and even in the kind of technological world we live in today, people's music discovery is still around 70% of it comes from radio still, which is pretty remarkable. And I think they're talking about linear, broadcast radio. They're not your MixClouds and online radio. So radio is still a huge driver of people's tastes, and I guess that is going to evolve as streaming services get into the car and get more pervasive. But you shouldn't discount radio. And indeed, yeah, Shazam, as I mentioned, 10 million songs a day are discovered, and a lot of those are from radio. Some is from TV as well, if we're talking about discovery. But I definitely think there's a big place for all three, including algorithms and sort of social peer-to-peer sort of recommendations. And indeed, the sort of open graph of Facebook with pretty much every service here, I think, has a sort of Facebook leveraging what people are discovering on MixCloud, Spotify, MusicMatch, or Shazam through your Facebook friends. And that's a very, very powerful viral effect, particularly for upcoming and new acts as well.
I think we obviously at MixCloud play in the second category that Axel mentioned, so it's all about the curators, the experts, the enthusiasts. And I think it's worth just saying one quick thing on that sort of category. It's people are a lot quicker at spotting new musical trends than algorithms. So obviously there's a lot of historical heritage in London. We had Last FM, who grew up before us, about 10 years ago, and they were all focused on the algorithms, and they provided a really amazing service. But the thing that Last FM always struggled with was if there was a new band or a new song, it took a long time for it to enter into the algorithm and for it to be recommended enough, people liking it enough, for it to sort of get recommended to other people. Whereas with MixCloud, a lot of what DJs and radio presenters do is they go digging through the record crates and they go try and find something new. So that's sort of our strength, really.
Our approach on discovery, it's quite different because, just to give you an example, there are tons of cases we understood that people don't remind the song's name, but just remind a few lyrics. So an example of these few days, you probably know there was this Gangnam Style, Korean crazy guys like, dancing, which actually got the world record for, it was the most viewed music video on YouTube. People, I mean, they couldn't remind the way Gangnam Style is written, so they were searching on MusixMatch, few lyrics, because it said Gangnam Style, so it's a way for discovery. We see people, actually, we were laughing and making a joke with Nico. Nico was saying before joining, I would love to listen some Italian music, coming there. Through lyrics, you can, if you search just Rome, it came up, Rome wasn't built by day. by Morchiba. So we see that lyrics helps on, discovering music. You never remind always, the song name, but you can just remind a few words.
I see what you mean. I wanted to finish the subject that you brought up before, the dualism between possess and access. It's been like maybe too big a debate so far, because traditional industry kind of had a hard time trying to digest the idea. But I'd like to ask you if you think the transition is now complete, and how is it going to be affecting both the user experience and the industry itself, whoever.
I mean, I think if we sit here again in 1 year's time, we wouldn't talk about the difference between access and ownership, because this is a theoretical difference, and the theoretical difference is becoming smaller and smaller, and soon it's not even going to be there. It's going to be, I imagine that when electricity was invented, people were debating various different current models or whatever, but now, you just flick on the light and there's light, and in the future there's just going to be music, and you're not really going to think about whether it's streaming or not.
I think it's all a matter of, I'm personally one of the big supporters of streaming services. There's a thing actually which probably, in terms of owning the music, I don't see very useful. If I want to, I don't know, Tomorrowland entire music, it needs times for me to download all the music, while I can just build or get a playlist from Spotify. So I personally think the future is like, I said a bad word, so beep. The future is kind of streaming, it's much more cloud, easy to access.
Yeah, I mean, streaming is clearly going to be a huge part of the future, if not the future. A la carte downloads shouldn't be discounted, though. They do have some advantages in terms of they're always there, especially now with a lot of the services back that up as cloud-based locker type pieces. But yeah, I mean, we've been told to finish.
Finish.
I think I had finished.
Should we take questions from the audience?
We have 1 minute. I'm sorry to be horrible, but we have 1 minute.
So? What about Spotify then? Yeah.
Give free code to anyone,
Axel. If you email me, axel@spotify.com, maybe I can give you a free code. But we'll see.
Whoa!
I mean,
Oh, nice.
I mean, we want to be everywhere, and Italy is a super important market, so eventually.
When?
You'll have to be surprised.
Soon. Okay. Any other questions?
All right, guys. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everybody. Bye.
Thanks.